What's good, everybody? Injured here, and I'm going to be talking about, in my opinion, what are the four biggest factors affecting Battlerite right now. Stay tuned because not all of them are doom and gloom, but not all of them are glorious. Okay, so I want to start by talking about how the game is already wildly successful, okay? And this is point one. People need to get over the fact of trying to figure out, is the game a success, is it or not? It is. And I'm going to prove it to you that this game is wildly successful, and I'm going to talk about how that's dangerous and how it's also beneficial. So I'm going to crunch some numbers here in the video, okay? So in the first couple weeks when the game released, they sold just about 400,000 copies. Okay, so 400,000 copies. And I believe they didn't have a sale at that point, but I'm not sure. So I want to be conservative with my numbers. And so I'm going to say that they sold for $18 a piece. Okay, it's right around there. My guess is that's little low on the average because it's going to be much closer to the $20. So this is $7.2 million. This is US million dollars that Stunlock Studios made in basically like the first 2 weeks. Now, I would say that roughly a quarter of the people playing bought the Ultimate Fan Pack. Now, the reason I say that is we typically get matched into twos, and I think every single game I have at least one person with the Ultimate Fan Pack that is in my games. Now, sometimes I have more, sometimes I don't, but I would say it's safe to say that 25% do have it. Now, however, I want to be conservative and I want to protect it, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that 10% do. So 10% of that would be 40,000. And the Ultimate Fan Pack sells for $30. Now, I don't think that the Ultimate Fan Pack at any point has had a sale. I could be wrong though. So again, I want to be slightly conservative and I'm going to say, whoops, oh man, okay, I gotta redo that. So 40,000 and they sold for roughly $28 a piece on average. So that's another $1.12 million that they've made. Now, I have no idea how much money that they've made on selling chests or other stuff in game. So I can't really say or speak to that. So I'm just going to stick with these numbers to make it a little bit easier. So we know then that $8.32 million, okay, was made. So 832,000 and three more, that's a million. So Steam takes somewhere between 30 and 40% of all revenue when you sell things on their platform. Now, I'm not really sure, what was worked out between them. I'm going to go ahead and guess at 35% just to go dead even. And so we're going to multiply that by 0.65. So we know that $5.4 million was made. Okay, so that's basically what they brought in. Now, real quick, if we jump over to the Stunlock Studios website, if you count this, now I'm not going to count these four because these are new hires. If you count how many people are listed here on the team, it is 21 people that they have on their team when it launched. So that means that 21 people need to get paid. Again, I want to be really conservative. And let's say that the average person makes $100,000 at Stunlock Studios. I think that is I do believe that's on the high side. I think there's people that are going to make more than 100,000. I think there's people that are going to be making less than 100,000. Being a small indie developer, I'm not really sure where that number is. But again, let's be conservative with our numbers so that way we can really get a look at it. And so we say that there's 21 people there. So times 21. And it's $2.1 million. So if we subtract that from the 5.4, we have $3.3 million after their entire team is paid for the entire year. The game is wildly successful, okay? It is. That's a good thing and a bad thing, because what that could mean is that they leave us, they never talk to us again, and they still made $3.3 million and have paid their staff for an entire year. Now, we do know that they've hired 4 new people to come on staff to help with Battlerite. So that's a good thing. I'm pretty sure they're not just getting the money out of it and leaving, because they're getting more staff to help with the influx of demand on the game. So that's the good thing. And I'm pretty confident that they are going to be investing into the game, because they're hiring new people. They're coming out with new patches often, really often. And they're pretty significant patches, and I'm excited for this next one. Is they're going to be fixing, some of the matchmaking, and they're going to be having some winter stuff, and they're going to be fixing some small stuff in any character. That's great. They've been having at least one patch a month already with the small team, and the team's getting bigger. This is really wonderful news. So, in the most part, I think this is very good news, but it could be something that ends up hurting Battlerite, because they see that, we've got our money out of it, we can just leave now, go to our next project, and it's no big deal. I don't think they're doing that, though, but it is a reality that could be something that happens, but I'm hopeful, so I'm really excited about that. So next, let's talk numbers, okay? People have been dooming and glooming about the amount of people playing, and I want to highlight a really wonderful article. It was written by Nilo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Nilo or Nilo. I have no idea. But he writes with battlecrank.com. I'm going to put a link to the article in the description below. So be sure to check that out, okay? Now, he ends up comparing a lot of the other arena type, MOBA type games and talking about their numbers. I do think there's one huge flaw in the article, and we'll talk about that. So number 2, player numbers is affecting Battlerite. So right now, he's saying that total owners is at 432,144. I think this might have been pre-release, so these pre-free to play. So these numbers might be even higher. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, the numbers are growing. More people are still buying this game. That's really wonderful. The active in the past 2 weeks, that's what the P2W means, is at 151,000, and a little bit of change is 35% of the community is still active. When you look at the other games, it's significantly higher, and that is the main point of his article, is that when you look at these numbers, it's significantly higher than the other numbers. And so top concurrent was at 5,890. Okay, so that must have been during the free-to-play, actually, to be honest, because the numbers have been quite lower than that. Actually, no, because I think they got even higher than that. I don't know. Anyways, sorry, I digress. 1.36%. I think that number is abysmal. That's really scary to me. But when you look at the other numbers are really low too. And so you must think, oh, wow, okay, it's still higher than these other wildly popular games, so it must be good. Not 100% true in my opinion. Because the thing that he's not factoring in is he's not factoring in how old these games are. He doesn't talk about the age of the game. Battlerite's only been out 2 months. And so you tell me at Smite only had 0.39% of its player base in 2 months? No, I know that's not true, because I was on the forefront of Smite. Brawlhalla, again, Dota, I just don't think that's true. In 2 months, they were only able to retain 1 and maybe 0.5% of their community. I just don't think that's true. So I would like to see numbers for Smite, Brawlhalla, and Dota at their release and their 2-month mark to see how that compares to Battlerite. Now, other than that, I would say, yeah, okay, the game isn't necessarily dead, only holding this much, looking at his numbers. And I appreciate that the author did a really good job of being positive in a time when everybody was doom and gloom. So I love the fact that he was willing to go against the grain here and really try to put some positivity into the community. And for the most part, I think you were successful at that. I just think there was one thing you overlooked, like I said, the age of the games. And so if anybody has any information on that, please leave me a comment letting me know, hey, these are the numbers that are similar to the age time frame for the other games. So in short, I think that it's somewhat of a good sign seeing the numbers comparatively, but in reality, I still think they're a bit low, and that's a little nerve-wracking. So next, this is number 3. I'm just going to call this the release date fiasco, to be honest. I think this is so frustrating to me, and I don't even know what to do about it, to be honest. So the release date fiasco to me is they kind of went back and forth on what they were saying. So originally they were saying that in the early of next year, 2017, was going to be the free-to-play release. Then they just came out on Thursday and they said, oh, actually, I'm kidding. The free-to-play release is going to be in late 2017. That is a quote. That's a direct quote. Late 2017. Now they've released today. They said, oh, hey, let us clarify what late 2017 means. That means midsummer. What? No, midsummer in late 2017 can't be confused. They cannot be confused. I truly believe that this was a reaction to the vitriol they were receiving on Steam and other things like Reddit about this release date. I think they realized, holy cow, the community is so angry about this. We cannot go through with this. We need to somehow ease back, let them know, hey, we hear what you're saying, and they try to kind of pull a PR move. I'm just being honest here. I don't know if that's the case, but it's just too wildly different time for me to say, oh yeah, that was just a mistake. Late 2017 versus midsummer. Yeah, those basically are the same. No, they're not. And I'm a little, not offended, but I just think it's a little silly that they would do that. But so the other thing I want to talk about this though is that a lot of people are trying to think about and look at this free-to-play release date saying, oh, hey, don't worry about numbers, as we talked about before. Don't worry about the release date, blah, blah, blah. The game's in early access. Listen, I don't care what you call it. The game's been released. And we all need to realize the game has been released. And this is why. Everyone playing the game now has paid money to play the game. Back in my day when I was a kid, beta testers got paid to play games in beta. Now, it used to, and then later, it used to be, just a few people here and there. They got to play in the beta. They would get to test it, whatever. Hey, they got free beta testing now. Now, you're paying to test the game. That's called a release. That is called releasing a game, releasing a product. So you release something. People pay you for it. A transaction has now happened. The game is released, okay? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with saying the game is released, and I'm okay with saying that the game is the way it is in a release state. And I think it's wise for them to wait a little bit to make it go free to play because it's not ready for the masses. It's just not, and that's okay. The game has a very hardcore feel to it, and it needs to have some other things implemented to make the ease into the game a little easier, or the entry into the game a little easier. And so we need to realize that the game's already released. It's already been wildly successful. The numbers are a little concerning. However, we're still moving in a good direction. So let's not worry about it. So, next and last but certainly not least, I think the last wild card that is affecting Battlerite is you. It's the players. You, me, everyone else playing, we have so much control of the success of Battlerite. And I'm being really, really serious about this, okay? We have way more impact than we realize in the release of the game, in the success of the game, and what is going to happen in the future of Battlerite. I want to share a story with you with a friend of mine. And he owns about 20 dominoes in the Chicago area. Those of you in the EU, Chicago is one of the largest cities in our country. And he's wildly successful with the dominoes. He told me a story once where in Chicago, they were doing this promotional. And they hired some company to check to see how, what it would cost for... the social media impact of this promotional. Like if they would normally just paid for it, how much would it cost, etc. And they had all these people tracking the social media, letting them know like, wow, you made this many impressions, this many, blah, 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 and like telling them, okay? So what I don't remember exactly what the promotion was. It was something like a dollar pizza or something like that. It was really crazy, and you could buy like 3 or 4 of these dollar pizzas a piece. And he was telling me people were literally lining up with their entire family, and like had like 5-year-olds, and the 5-year-old was buying 5 pizzas. The 10-year-old was buying 5 pizzas. The 15-year-old was buying 5 pizzas. The dad was buying 5 pizzas. The mom was buying 5 pizzas. Like whatever it was, it was crazy. They basically sold out every single store by lunch. Every single store in Chicago was out of pizza by lunch. Okay. He then told me that to do a marketing campaign on social media to get the amount of impressions they had, because people were like doing pictures, and like tweeting that they were in line and they were doing all this stuff, said that it would basically, Domino's couldn't afford that. Domino's couldn't afford that. Okay? It would have been that expensive. But it happened because the people rallied around what was happening. And so I truly believe that if we were to unite as a community, like these people united around getting $1 pizzas, you would see just an insane change in the community. Because Razer and SteelSeries and Audio Technica and like whoever else is out there is going to be looking and saying, holy crap, look at all of this social media impressions that are going out there. It matters. And they're going to say, if we were to sponsor a team, if we were to sponsor an event, if we were to whatever, we would be getting hundreds and thousands, if not millions of impressions. And they'd go, yeah, it's worth us to come in on this. We need to come in on this. If we don't, we're foolish. We, you, me, we have the power to do that. Honestly. If we were to unite and start tweeting about the tournament, start tweeting about the changes in the game, start liking YouTube videos, commenting on YouTube videos, start sharing YouTube videos on Twitter, start sharing them on Facebook. If we were to unite around the social media platform, we could literally change the direction of Battlerite overnight. But we need to unite and do that. We are probably the biggest wild card factor is the community. So we have a choice. We have a choice right now. We can look at all the information that's been going on right now, and we can doom and gloom. We can say, Stunlock Studios isn't doing this. They aren't doing that. They're not here to support us, blah, 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 and go on. Or we could say, listen, I love this game, and I love how it's played. Sure, it's got some spots that I'd like to see improved. However, I get so much joy out of watching the tournaments on Twitch. And so you start tweeting about watching them on Twitch. You start sharing the YouTube videos of your friends. You're going to see things change because people from the outside are going to want to come inside. Both players and sponsors are going to do this. And sorry, I want to back up a second to talk about Twitch. Listen, start watching people on Twitch. It's going to make a big deal. And I'm not just talking about the big people like Teldu and Finlev and Niwa. Like, they always have really good success. And they're sponsored now because of you. Their streams are sponsored, specifically Finlev and Niwa that I know of, because of you. You have the ability to do that to other people too. Make sure that when those people aren't on, you're also helping out some of the new people. You want new people to come in, get some success, bring their friends in because, oh wow, I had some success here, it's so great, and they're going to talk great about it, and then they're going to expound on what's happening. You have the ability to do that, but you have to be intentional. And so I want to wrap that up and say, guys, let's unite as a community. Guys, gals, everybody. Let's unite as a community. And I want you to leave a comment letting me know you're on board to start being a positive change in the community. You are going to rise up and take some action. Send some tweets, like YouTube videos, comment on YouTube videos. All those things make such a big difference. And you say, well, commenting on YouTube, yes, comment on a YouTube video, because comments on a YouTube video affects the algorithm of which videos get promoted in people's recommended channels. So someone who's not even interested in Battlerite might get a Battlerite video put into their recommended slot because we commented enough on some videos. It makes a difference. And I want you to leave a comment in this one. to show people, show the rest of the community here, hey, I'm on board. I'm willing to start doing my part, and I'm going to make Battlerite great. You're going to make Battlerite great. We're going to make Battlerite great. So guys, if you liked this video and you liked me kind of just talking about the state of things and hoping to, hoping to rouse you guys a little bit. So if you guys liked this video and you liked me trying to talk about what's going on in the community, let me know in the comments along with some of the other things that I asked you for in the comments. But hit that like button, hit subscribe. You know, I'm trying to build a little bit of a presence here on YouTube, and you guys have been super awesome in doing that. So I really appreciate the support, and I hope you guys like this style of video, and if you do, I'll continue to bring you more. Thanks for joining the most positive place in gaming. Peace.